What in the actual hell is going on, Americans? Jericho Green here with you once again. And people, you've heard about it. The rapper Nipsey Hussle, he was murdered on Sunday afternoon. And new info has come out. The suspect in the murder is a co-crip. One of the people from his own set, some dude named Eric Holder. So it looks like we got two dumbasses named Eric Holder in this country. But apparently, he showed up to his store to hang out. You know, Nipsey was hanging out in front of the store with some of his buddies, a store that he owned. The dude came up. Nipsey was like, "Hey, man, you're a snitch. Get up out of here. You can't be around here." Dude got mad, came back, shot him. Shot and killed Nipsey Hussle and shot two other guys that he was standing next to. And you can see him run up. He starts shooting. People scatter. He walks back. And the guys, Nipsey and the guys were already laying on the ground, so he puts some more shots into them, shoots him in the head, and then kicks him in the head. Now, when I saw that part of the video yesterday, I was like, oh, this is personal. You know, you're gonna do so, even if he was sent to carry out a hit, you're not gonna kick the dude in the head like that. That's personal. That means he knew him. That means he felt wronged in some way. And all these people talking this conspiracy shit about Dr. Sebi or whatever the fuck his name is. He discovered the cure to AIDS and Big Pharma killed him. Man, shut up with that shit. There's no conspiracy theory here. And if Big Pharma wanted him dead, why didn't they just kill Dr. Sebi or whatever his name is? Why the fuck would they kill a rapper who's going to do a documentary with him? That sounds fucking stupid. But that's how it is. That's how it always is in the hood. Some fool kills another dude. That's it. No regard for life. You mean to tell me that because somebody embarrassed you in front of people or somebody said some mean shit to you, you're going to come back and kill them? That just shows a lack of respect for life, the lack of caring about life in the hood. You just murdered this dude. 29 years old, Eric Holder, going to prison. If he makes it, who knows? You know how those gangs are with the retaliation. You might kill him. But, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that this dude comes from a fatherless home like most dudes in the hood. Now, Nipsey Hussle, his father was in the home, but I'm wondering how effective he was if his son still ended up in a gang. His father's from Africa. His mom is a black person from here. So he's the true African American. I hate how people throw that term around. We're African American. No, we're not. You have no connection to Africa. Name one African relative you got. You can't. So it's fucked up. You know what I mean? And I know what it's like to be put on a spot, you know, where your ego is in jeopardy. You've been embarrassed. Now, it's nothing as extreme as this, but when I was in high school, I was a senior, and this was a sophomore or freshman, this dude named Chris. Hold on. And I'm standing around, you know, we're standing around talking after school, whatever. He bumps into me, and he's drinking a Sprite. He spills a Sprite on my shoes. Now, my buddies were standing there like, oh, man, you gonna let him do that? Whatever, you know how that shit goes. So instead of saying, no, it's all good, man, I know it was an accident, you know, he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I grabbed his Sprite and just poured it all over his head, all over his clothes, his face, his hair. Just a fucking asshole move. I know. But a few years later, after I graduated, you know, that would bother me. I would think about that every once in a while. Like, man, if I ever run into that dude, I'm going to apologize. And not the bullshit apologies people usually give. Oh, if I could take it back, I would. Or some stupid excuse. No, a straight apology. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And shoot, 10, 15 years later, I actually did run into him. It was at this place called A&S Metals. It's like a scrap yard. You know, you bring your scrap metal, aluminum, cans, all that shit to get money for it. And I saw him, and I was like, oh, Chris, what's up, man? I was like, hey, when you're done, let me talk to you for a second. I haven't seen this dude since that day, pretty much. It's been 10, 15 years. And I'm like, Chris, do you remember this incident? I told him, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember. I said, look, man, I am so sorry. That was wrong. I was a fucking asshole. I shouldn't have done that. I should have handled that totally different, man. I'm sorry. And he was like, hey, man, I'm glad you apologized. I really appreciate that, blah, blah, blah. And it was all good. So I get, you know, being in that moment and being embarrassed, but you're going to come back with a fucking gun and kill this dude? Like, come on, man, it's fucking ridiculous. And people, you know, of course, when somebody dies, we only remember all the good things they did. Well, Nipsey Hussle did this in a store, and he had all these programs for the kids and after school and opened all these businesses and opportunities. And that's great. That's good. Nobody can take that from him. Nobody's shitting on that. But to disregard and not even recognize the other part of his life is ridiculous. Because if he's the stand-up man, he's a good man, everybody says he is. If you ask him, he'd be like, yeah, I knew that. I knew that was coming. This is the life I live. I knew the consequences. And that's that. But by not acknowledging that, you're taking away his responsibility. He knows what he was doing. He was a man. He knew the life he was living. He knew what came with that life. He had tattoos on his body of homeboys that got murdered. He knew what was up. But you can't have one foot in the I'm doing good world and another foot in crip, shoot a motherfucker, blue rag. You can't do that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And it's unfortunate that happened. Who I really feel bad for are his kids. And I'm sure that dude probably had kids too. Nipsey Hussle had, what, 2 or 3 kids. That's who I feel bad for. I feel bad for another generation of kids growing up without a father. More black kids growing up without a father. One's dead and one's going to be in prison. So he might as well be dead. Hold on. So he might as well be dead. That's the fucked up part. That's who I feel bad for. I don't feel bad for adults who make decisions and have to endure the consequences of those decisions. Not to say that I'm glad he's dead or something, but he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was getting into. He's a big boy. But that's fucked up. His kids, I mean, damn. Imagine their mother having to sit them down and tell them, Daddy's not coming home. Daddy's gone. Now you can only go visit a piece of granite in the ground and some grass. That's what he's been reduced to. That's fucked up. That's the fucked up part. But you see the video, man, it's messed up. You know? He just runs up, starts spraying him, and shoots him, and he got shot 5 times in the body, once in the head. This is a terrible situation. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Until we fix the family, that's going to be the story in the hood. That's what it has been. Let's see. Asian people are #1 by far in wealth in this country. They have 17% out of wedlock births. Black folks are at the bottom by far. We have almost 75% of our children born out of wedlock. Coincidence? I think not. So all these programs and all these stores and shops and things for these kids to do after school, that's great, but it's nothing on its own. It needs to be paired with a stable home life. It needs to be paired with structure. It needs to be paired with 2 parents. That is the key, is the family. Stop having these children before you get married, and you will see things change. You will see more stability. You will see better people produced out of these fucking war zones. I'm surprised he made it this far in life without getting killed. Gang banging and shit. No respect for life, man. Because somebody said something? You're going to shoot him 6 fucking times? I don't get that, man. I really don't. I don't get that mindset. I'm glad I don't. I'm glad I have no understanding of that. I'm glad I never experienced that. Now, I have family and shit. You know, I have family living in East Oakland. I have family living in the projects. We go visit. But I take my ass back home to my 2-parent home in the nice neighborhood that we lived in. I am not ashamed of that. That's what I want to provide for my kids. And you ask these fools, you see these shows with these dudes in prison, these gangbangers who are fortunate enough to make it to the ripe old age of 35 or something. What do you ask? What do you ask them? What do you want to tell the kids out there? What do they say? Man, don't do it. Don't get in these gangs. These fools don't care about you. When you're in prison, they don't send you money. They don't visit. They'll kill you. You can't trust them. And that's what the dudes who are knee deep in that shit tell you. And I listen to some of Nipsey Hussle's music. I grew up in the 90s. I listen to rap all the time. But you know what? I had a father at home that sent a clear message that shit's not how it is. My dad, we were watching a movie one time. There's some little gangbangers in there. My dad looked at me and said, boy, if I ever catch you in a gang, I'll break your legs. So who am I going to be more afraid of? A little so-and-so down the street? Or my dad who has full access to me at all times and will kick my ass at the drop of a hat if I deserve it? That's what's missing. That's what's missing for these kids. A father who, if they do get in that life, who's going to show up wherever you are and say, give me my boy back. He's not in this fucking gang. Now, Robert De Niro, he's a piece of shit, but you remember that scene in The Bronx Tale? He went down there and told Sonny, hey, this is my boy. Leave him alone. That's part of a father's job, is to protect. Now you hear Junior in the background. He's done eating. I gotta go get him. Quality time. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow your boy on the Twitters at @Green_Jericho. Utilize the PayPal link. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.